Good morning, Steeler Nation. Happy Tuesday. I hope you're having a great start to your week. Today we have a special guest. We have the Steel Twins. I'll have the description linked into their YouTube channel in the description. I'm sure many of you guys who watch my channel watch them. Great guys, great insight. They're really a hoot to watch. You watch them talk, and many times they'll finish each other's sentences, and they know a lot about the Pittsburgh Steelers. Please like and subscribe. Don't forget to hit that notification button. We have a couple of different guests coming on later on this week. We have Chris Hendricks of Who Dat Saints Nation podcast to kind of give us a insight on the NFC South and also on the Saints as we play them later on this year. But with that being said, we're going to get into the conversation with the Steel Twins. Please hit that like, subscribe button. I'm Daniel J. This is State of the Steelers, and welcome to the Huddle. Good morning, guys. How y'all doing? I'm sure y'all need no introduction, but to my right, I'm left, maybe y'all's, I'm not sure, is the Steel Twins. How y'all doing this morning?
We're doing great, man. Appreciate you for having us on. Glad to be on, man.
Great. I've been watching you guys for a while. I know you guys are a little bit younger than myself. I'm in my upper 30s already. The season's it's been a change for one. How does it feel for y'all's generation coming away from Ben Roethlisberger and going into an exciting new time, new general manager, new name for the stadium? How does that feel for you guys out there?
Oh, for sure. It's going to be completely different. Growing up as Steelers fans, it's been nothing but Ben. It's been nothing but Hienz. It's been nothing but Kevin Colbert. And this new era that we're going to be going into this upcoming season, it's going to be a drastic change to the team, but I'm ready for it. I'm actually real excited for the new era for the Pittsburgh Steelers.
Yeah, I'm very excited as well. It's going to take a while to get used to this new era. In fact, I'm kind of hurt when I think about it because it's like my childhood's running away from me.
Oh, I hear you, man. I mean, when Ben Roethlisberger left, I was that last home game with against the Cleveland Browns. I think that was like the first time I cried since my kids were born, to be honest with you.
Now, I tell you, man, that was the most emotional night I've ever experienced as a Steelers fan. In fact, I remember the morning after, I watched some stuff I may have missed the night before, and I cried again. That's how much it meant to me.
Oh yeah, it was a crazy moment. I as most of the folks out here know, I'm a season ticket holder. In that game, I had held on to the tickets for a while. And towards the end, I decided to go ahead and just get rid of them and sell them. And that was probably my biggest regret at this point because, man, I just wish I could have been there that night.
Yeah.
I'm from Texas, so it's a little bit more difficult for me to just get on out there and get there. How many games have y'all been to? I know you guys are from the Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania area, so to speak.
Yeah, we've only been to, believe it or not, only one game, and that was last year versus the Titans. And I'm proud to say we are undefeated in Heinz Field history.
What did y'all think about watching them live versus on the TV screen? Is it different? Is the atmosphere different? What did y'all think about that?
Oh, absolutely. The atmosphere is drastically different. It's amazing just to be at Heinz Field or Acrisure Stadium, whatever you want to call it. It's Heinz Field to our hearts, deeply, and it was an amazing experience, and I highly recommend any Steelers fan that hasn't gone there yet to definitely get out there and witness the Steelers playing live and be a part of Steeler Nation. See the terrible towels twirl around in the air, like it's amazing. I absolutely loved it. It's something I will never forget.
A sight like that is something you have to be there to experience because you cannot describe it. It's truly a sight to see. And I've always heard whispers and opinions that what's the difference between watching on TV and going to a home game, because watching on TV, you get better views and all that. But at Heinz, at the stadium itself, every seat is a good seat. And the atmosphere is truly unreal. And I think it truly is a much better experience watching it live rather than at home on television.
Oh, I agree. So were y'all guys expecting what was to happen once the lights turned off, once the jumbo screen turned off and you start hearing the sounds of Renegade coming through? How was that experience for you guys that first time there?
Man, I can't describe it, to be real with you. It's truly something you have to be there to know. But when I heard "Oh Mama," my body went numb. I'm not going to lie to you. And it was so cold in that stadium that I felt warmth when I heard it. And I seen the towels twirl around. And it's like everything left my body. I was like, wow, I'm truly here.
It was legit goosebumps hearing the Renegade song play and seeing the Terrible Towers twirl. And look, I'm getting goosebumps just remembering it. It was amazing. Fantastic.
It's truly something I have to experience again to try to give a better explanation, because the first time I'm just in the moment.
Oh yeah, no, for sure. And I hope it continues with so much change and turnover here recently. I know there's been talk last year that they might be going away from it because its effect might be going down or whatnot. I know I went to the Denver Broncos game, and then I went to the Seattle Seahawks game last year. And against the Seattle Seahawks, they didn't play it in regulation. They didn't play it until overtime. So had that game not gone, the way it went, it would have not came out, and I would have been highly disappointed in that point. But when the Renegade song came out, how did that result for the Steelers against the Titans in that game?
The defense absolutely just came on another level. I mean, the defense is already playing great that whole game. Watt broke the record for most sacks in Steelers history in that game. To watch that live was great, but you can truly see the energy from the team on the benches, on the field. It's just felt, man. Like, you hear players all the time talk about it, but seeing it in person, it's truly felt from the players, and they definitely stepped up towards the end of the game.
Great. Yeah, no, I agree. It's amazing. So, how cold was that stadium? I know that game was in December, wasn't it, or was it November?
Yeah, it was in the later parts of December, and it was freezing cold.
Yeah, it was very close to Christmas, and my feet were cold, my face was cold. We tried to bundle up as much as we can. No matter what you bring, I don't think you'll ever come to a decent warmth in that stadium, just because it's true football weather, man, and you wouldn't want to have it any other way. And when you said you were at the Seahawks game, how was your experience watching Watt make that play in overtime?
Well, my seats are in the end zone, the lower level, on the opposite end. So I was watching it on the jumbotron, and I was pissed. Like, I was extremely mad that it even went to overtime. I thought that we should have handled the Steelers should have handled the Seattle Seahawks way earlier in that game. But in that moment, I was jumping for joy. I was screaming. Everybody in our section was jumping. We knew it was over. We knew that all we had to do was just get balls on the field and game over, at that point. And so it was exciting. I was texting a couple of people earlier on in that game that I was concerned about the running back in the first half, because he seemed to be able to get shifty in that game and move around. And I was like, hey, this guy's kind of worrying me. And then in the second half, he just kind of blew it up. And I was like, oh, crap. And so, it seemed like every game for the Steelers last year either started off either okay or great, and we dominated in the first half and then allowed them to come back, and then it turned into a game. And then at the end of the season, it was, the opposite, where the Steelers couldn't do anything in the beginning, and then boom, at the end, they just turned it on. And so the Seattle Seahawks and the Denver Broncos game, for the most part, felt like whole games that they were playing. Like, the offense and the defense did well, and then just some weird crap just happened. But I did notice about Pittsburgh in that game, or in those two games, it's just like Texas as far as the weather goes. That first game and against the Denver Broncos was probably one of the warmer games I've ever been to, and wearing all black doesn't help. And so, you're there, you're wearing all black, and then the next game, it's freezing rain before the game starts. And so during the game against Seattle, a lot of folks, watching the TV or whatnot, probably wouldn't have known that it was freezing rain for about an hour before the game started. And it stopped probably about 15 minutes before. And I'll tell a quick funny joke. Me and my wife were leaving the stadium, and we had taken some rain ponchos with us. And she's like, oh, it's not going to rain. We don't need it. And I looked outside. I was like, are you sure? She's like, yeah, it's going the other way. It's not going to happen. It's not going to happen. About an hour and a half later, I'm sitting there in freezing rain, eating my pizza, watching the warm-ups. And so I enjoyed it, though. Are you guys going to a game this year?
I'm not sure yet. I would love to go to a game. I said it last year that I wanted to go to the Bucs game just because Tom Brady in Pittsburgh probably one last time. I mean, it's not going to be cheap whatsoever. No game is, to be real with you. But yeah, I would love to go to a game this year. What that game is, I don't know. Experiencing the weather, though, I definitely want to have like a closer game to the early parts of the season. I would also love to go to a night game just to experience that, because we've experienced a day game. I want to experience a night game.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah, if you guys do it, I know pre-COVID they used to do a tour of the seat of the stadium, and in 2019, me and my pops got to go watch them play against the Miami Dolphins. Which, when I purchased the tickets, it was supposed to be Ben Roethlisberger and
Yeah.
we're make a run. And so, I got 50-yard line right at I think it was like the second row behind the Steelers. And so we got a good view, but I ended up doing the tour and we got to get on the field and got to high-five Juju Smith-Schuster. That was probably the highlight of that day, outside of the Steelers winning and whatnot. But it was a great moment. I highly recommend you guys go and do that. But if you guys end up wanting to ever go to a show, I'm a season ticket holder. I'll hook you guys up with my cost, which is a lot lower than what it is. And just so everybody knows, I do have tickets available if y'all are interested. And this is the view from the seats.
Wow.
And so And so I'll hook you guys up. Those are the seats that I know we were speaking off air earlier that I was talking to you last year about, that I had two that I was going to give to you guys, but unfortunately it was scheduling issues that had happened. Right. My brother was supposed to go to the Bears game and then canceled out like right at the last moment. And so, are you guys going to training camp this year? Any idea about that?
That is absolutely the plan. It's been a minute since we've been to training camp. In fact, if I had to give you a year, I think it was TJ Watt's rookie year, 2017. What's the last time we've been to training camp in Latrobe? I'm glad Latrobe is returning. The Steelers are returning to Latrobe rather this year. That's where they belong. I think the intent is the Friday Night Lights deal, which I believe you're going to as well.
Yes, sir. I'll be there. I'll be there the Thursday before Friday Night Lights, and I'll be there Friday Night Lights. We should link up. It'd be great to see you guys in person.
Absolutely. And we've even thought about, because we have vacation coming up soon for work, might take some part of the week or maybe the whole week of going to training camp. That's still undetermined, but that's definitely been a deep thought for us. But I think the Friday Night Lights thing, I think that's going to be a reality. But we'll keep you in check on that, though.
That'd be great, man. I'm excited. I've never been to Latrobe or training camp. I'm excited that the Pittsburgh Steelers are back. I'll be honest with you. Last year, when Eric Ebron was elated that the Steelers weren't going, that upset me. I was very upset when any of these players were like, "No, I don't want to go there. I want to stay home." Yada yada yada. I think that Latrobe is it's a thing that the Steelers players should have to go through. Cool. So, speaking on training camp, is there any players or any camp battles that you're excited to see? I know everybody's excited about the quarterback battle and Kenny Pickett and Mitch Trubisky, but outside of that battle, is there a battle that you're intrigued about seeing? Any players that are not on the radar that you're looking forward to see?
Definitely left guard, which I believe that's going to be Kevin Dotson and Kendrick Green, because they're two young guys drafted in the 3rd and 4th round respectively, and they're battling for that left guard spot. Kendrick Green is no longer a center. He's already said they're moving him back to guard, which I think we all agree is his natural position. And I'd like to see some progression in his second year where he's most comfortable. And Kevin Dotson, I think we all still like Kevin Dotson. We all still think he has Pro Bowl potential. But last year, he didn't necessarily show that. That might have been due to injury. That may have been due to being out of position. But that for sure, because the offensive line is upgraded for sure. And on paper, it looks really good. But I'm still a little concerned in some spots, and left guard is one of them. So I'm looking forward to see what Dotson and Green bring to the table and how they one up each other.
Yeah, for sure. With them competing at training camp, Green in his natural habitat and Dotson in his second full year as a left guard. Mm-hmm. I feel like, with the competition that's going to be there, I think both of them could definitely get better at that at training camp.
Oh, I agree. That's the one offensive battle that I've been harping out for. Dotson was naturally a right guard, and he had some issues transitioning to the left guard position. In fact, last year it was reported there was some concerns with him going into training camp. A lot of folks had thought it had to do with conditioning, but I think it had more to do with the mental preparation and the rehab of his body, to be honest with you. Now, with the left guard transition of Green, he was naturally a left guard, like you mentioned. But one thing that I like about him more than anything is this, and I think that the Steelers will like about him, is the fact that his pulling ability. Last year we saw him out there several times in front of receivers on screens, in front of, Najee Harris going down the field. So I don't think that battle is shored up, so to speak. What about on the defensive side? Where do you guys see the biggest hole there?
Interesting. You could say defensive line if Ogunjobi is not already determined as a starter. I don't know if there's going to be an open competition there. People are saying there might be a strong safety battle between Edmonds and Casey. I'm not so sure about that because Edmonds has proven himself of being a full-time starter. He hasn't missed a game, hasn't missed a snap since his rookie year. When you look at defense, I'm more so looking at edge depth because our edge depth has been very lackluster for a number of years, and there were so many guys that went in and out last year. Guys like Ingram and Jameer Jones and Taco Charlton.
And Derek Tuska still
right. So
it was hot potato basically for the edge depth behind Watt and
Highsmith.
Yeah, I was thinking Lamar Woodley for some reason. I was thinking of 56 and Woodley came up. But yeah, Highsmith.
Yeah, I wish. But yeah, edge depth absolutely, because that's a serious position that hopefully guys can step up to the plate. One guy I'm still high on is what's his name? Tyree Johnson from Texas A&M. He used to be teammates with DeMarvin Leal and Buddy Johnson. Maybe as an undrafted free agent, he can step it up and take that number 3 edge spot, because I'm not exactly sure who else could take it. Tuska, maybe it's Jannard Avery as a guy who we signed off of free agency. It's not looking great, so I'm hoping some guys can step it up, or maybe Omar Khan signs a guy similar to what Colbert did last year. I'm not sure. Edge depth is a concern, but I'm hoping some guys show up.
Yeah, of course.
No, I agree. I mean, TJ Watt had an amazing season last year, and it'd be crazy to think he's going to be able to. I mean, it's possible that he can hit more than 22 and a half sacks this year, but to do that back to back is going to be kind of tough. It'd be reasonable to believe that his sack numbers would go down, but then that means somebody else's sacks has to go up. I'm very concerned with the outside linebacker position. Even with Alex Highsmith, I see a lot of potential there. I see a lot of moves and a lot of close calls to the quarterback, but in the league, results matter, and he had 6 sacks last year, which is 1 less than Chris Wormley. And the third rotational outside linebacker position is used quite a bit. Tuska used somewhere around 26% of the snaps. Carlton used somewhere around 25. Before Ingram departed the Pittsburgh Steelers, there were several packages that were out there that had Ingram, Highsmith, and TJ Watt on the field at the same time. And I don't think that those packages were created solely for Ingram. I think they're looking for somebody to take place into that package. So, especially with the AFC North and a heavy run, the offenses in the AFC North being heavy run, we're definitely going to need to be able to take care of that situation. I completely agree. So let's get into the topic that everybody wants to hear about and talk about. Kenny Pickett. Let's go back to the draft. Number 19 is going off the board. Who do you guys think that the Steelers were going to select? What was your reaction? What were your thoughts that night? And has it changed since?
Man, oh man. See, I often think back to that moment. I swear to God, I thought it was going to be Malik Willis. I did. I was foolish though, because of one, the hype over Malik Willis, but also Pickett was on the board, and it made all the sense in the world for the Steelers to take Pickett because he's the guy next door. They've watched him for 5 years. They know him better than any quarterback in the draft class. It made all the sense in the world. I wasn't the biggest fan initially due to his age. As silly as that sounds, I didn't want an old rookie at 24, even though he's a quarterback and they have a great
life expectancy in the NFL. And Pickett, although he's 24, he was, compared to all the other quarterbacks that came into the NFL draft, he was the more NFL ready.
And he is.
He absolutely is. And when I saw that Pickett was a selection, it really caught me by surprise, because just like Dan, I thought that Malik was going to be the pick considering the hype and Malik meeting with the Steelers and Steelers highly interested in him due to reports. It completely caught me off guard, and I forgot about Pickett. But since then, I've grown on the selection a lot. I like Pickett a lot. I think he has a ton of upside considering that he is the most NFL ready. Seeing how he does in training camp, I'm excited to see how he does. His hand size, I'm not concerned by that one bit, considering that one rival of ours, Joe Burrow, has similar hand problems, and he just played in the Super Bowl.
Right.
And he had a stellar season last year with Jamar Chase and his targets.
Yeah, I'm very high on Kenny Pickett now, and I've come so close to buying his rookie jersey, which I rarely do. Najee was an exception last year. I don't know if Pickett will be yet. I might buy it just because he's already kind of I don't want to say a legend, but a great face for the city of Pittsburgh.
Yeah, he's made his mark in Pittsburgh, considering he gave the Panthers their first ACC championship last year.
Right. So imagine what he can do in the Steelers uniform if he finds some really good success. I mean, he's a living legend for the city altogether, and I think we're all behind that.
Oh, I agree. I agree. I was kind of in the same sentiment as you guys. I was, thinking Malik Willis based on the upside and everything that came with him. And I tell everybody, I was like, the writing on the wall was there. If we were going to go with a quarterback with potential, then we wouldn't have signed Mitch Trubisky because we had a quarterback with potential at the time with Dwayne Haskins. May he rest in peace. It was very evident that he could throw the ball very well, very fast, very hard, and the potential was there. And so if we were going to stick with something like that, we already had a first round great quarterback in Haskins. So, I should have seen it there in that writing. And as far as the rookie jersey, I got one last year. It was Pat Fryermuth.
Oh,
I
wow.
love that guy. That guy is amazing. I got a color rush jersey of his. This year, I told everybody, I was like, if Pickens would have gotten number 1, I would have already had a Pickens jersey. The fact that he has number 14 makes me hesitate. What do you think about the jersey numbers that have been given out to the new rooks? Do you like number 14? What about 19 to Calvin Austin? Did that surprise you so soon after Juju?
A little bit. Now I'm not surprised that they replaced 19 already. I'm just surprised they replaced it with a rookie like Calvin Austin, who I think we're all high on. I think it fits him well, actually. It just looks good on him. I think we can get used to that. As for 14, I agree. I personally think that number is cursed. I believe in that type of stuff. So, seeing Lama Swede and Neil O'Donnell and Sammy Coates, I will say last year, Ray McLeod kind of it gave that number hope, and I feel like with George Pickens' potential and upside, I feel like he rocks the number so far. If he turns out to be a stellar receiver like we all hope he is, then I think it's great. It's fantastic. And Pickett as number 8, it only fit. It only fit for Pickett because that was his jersey number in Pittsburgh. So, and it's funny because back in the what's it called, the fake slide game he did, we were all like, okay, now we're going to transition from 7 to number 8 and turning. We're going to go from Ben to Pickett. And then we skipped away from that, not due to Pickett as a player, just because we thought he was off their radar. And that was the guy all along. I think DeMarvin Leal, what's his number, 98? I think that looks good on him. Let's see. Ola Dukin's wearing 5. I think that's good on him. Similar like a Josh Dobbs.
Right.
I think Mark Robinson's wearing 93. That's a weird linebacker number, but I can get used to it. I think I can get used to that.
Yeah, I never got used to Schobert wearing 93 in the center there. That was kind of odd the entire year last year. No, I agree. I like the numbers. I thought Kenny Pickett number 8 was going to be, the transition from Pitt over. The Pickens one, I had a segment that I was actually talking about it not too long ago, and the number 14 is cursed so bad that I completely forgot that Ray McLeod, who was recently on the team, had number 14. I just went straight to Lima Swede, straight to Sammy Coates and Neil O'Donnell. And so it was definitely a one that I was like, are you serious, 14? I would have had number 1 already, probably 2 jerseys already had he got number 1. But yeah. And so what year did you guys start watching football? When did y'all start getting into it? What year do y'all remember?
Passionately, like full time, it was 2014.
Yeah,
but we've been Steelers fans since the Super Bowl 43 run. But obviously, as kids, when you start becoming a teenager, you start transitioning to what am I interested in? What do I like the most?
Right, of course.
And football turned that to me. And since 2014, I've watched every game passionately since that year.
Yeah, I've been a fan for a while. I remember, and it was funny because you were talking about curses, and that kind of brought that up for me. I started watching. I've been a fan since I was born, but I started where I can remember was probably the 1993 season, 94 season, and in 1994, the Steelers made it to the championship game, and they lost to the San Diego Chargers, a team that was a Cinderella team that year, shouldn't have been making it. And that game I thought was over. It was done. I was probably about 9-10 years old at the time. And I told my dad, I was like, I'm gonna go play with my friends. We got this game. I came back and I was like, hey, what happened? He said, we lost. And I was like, what? And he's like, it's because you weren't here. That's when my superstition started. And so I was like, I have all this power now. And so I try to watch every game I can. I try not to be superstitious. However, this past year against the Cincinnati Bengals, that second game, my dog had a surgery, medical issue that needed surgery, and I wasn't able to watch it. And every time I would put on the game, something good would happen. We'd get an interception, something, then I'd turn it off, look back, and there was something bad had happened. I was like, are you kidding me? And so I try not to fall under it, but it is what it is. So going back to Kenny Pickett, do you guys think that he'll start week 1, or do you think he'll even play this year?
See, that's tough because
Yeah,
I don't know, man.
As of this moment, it's kind of hard to tell, considering that we feel like he's the most NFL ready. At the same time, it's something that you obviously should not rush for Kenny Pickett, despite his age, despite how he played at the college level last year. With bringing in Mitch, I mean, as of now, he's nothing but a bridge quarterback. He still has that glimmer of hope, that glimmer of upside with him, considering what he dealt with in Chicago and how much success he had to a degree there. And him sitting under Josh Allen and Brian DeBull last year in Buffalo, there's that slight glimmer of hope. But as of now, I see Mitch as nothing but a bridge guy, a fill-in guy to help Pickett develop. As far as the depth chart goes for where I think Pickett's going to be, I think he's going to be similar to Ben when we select him. I think he's going to be the number 3 guy, which I'm fine with. There's no need to rush the guy into a starting lineup or throw the guy in. Well, I think depending on how Trubisky plays,
right?
If he plays awful, then you may be forced to put Pickett in. But as of now, I see the guy sitting for at least the majority of the year, depending on how Trubisky plays. But it's hard to tell exactly where or what week he's going to play. I don't think he's going to be a week 1 starter, but it's hard to tell if he's going to play this year. But I think it really depends how Mitch plays under center for the Steelers.
Yeah, I agree. I feel the same way. It's all a matter of the situation the Steelers are in, quarterback play, where the season stands at that moment in time via whatever week it is. I'm not sure when Pickett plays. We don't know how he's going to, come out for training camp or preseason in terms of performance. He could surprise us all and be the number 2, or he could just be the week 1 starter. I don't know. But seeing how the Steelers don't rush rookies unless they have to, like last year, I don't think Pickett's going to start immediately. And I think that's a really good thing, because I think rushing quarterbacks, more times than not, it's a negative for rookie quarterbacks. So I think it's good to sit him a little bit, and let's see what Mitch has to show for us.
No, I agree. I'm also in the same boat there. I think that Mitch is going to start. I think that his leash is going to be short, however. I often look back at 2019 and remind folks that Mason Rudolph they had a first-round grade on him. Regardless of what we think about him or his play, that was what the grade they had on him. And his leash wasn't very long for a camp arm. And so, Mitch's leash probably won't be very long for the quote-unquote heir apparent in Kenny Pickett. And so I think that, in my opinion, if the Steelers aren't at least 2-1 coming out of the Cleveland Browns game on Thursday night, then I think that's when Kenny Pickett kind of takes over in that point. But you said there that you think he might go into be third in the depth chart. Does that mean that you think Mason Rudolph makes this team? He's not traded?
Yes, I do. Primarily because he is the most experienced quarterback on the roster. And when I say that, I mean in terms of he's familiar with the system. He's familiar with everyone on the team. And I think the Steelers will hold that very well for a guy like Rudolph. However, maybe Oladukin comes out and takes his spot, or maybe Pickett's the number 2 and then Oladukin's the number 3 and earns a roster spot. I'm not sure. The quarterback battle in general for training camp is going to be one to absolutely watch. It's the most must-see when it comes to the Steelers roster in general, just because of the new era and where this team's direction is going to be for the future. So overall, I don't know exactly how the quarterback battle is going to go. I'm just excited to watch.
I am too. So, we go back to 2019 and we look at Mason Rudolph. He went 5-3 that year. If at any point Kenny Pickett starts, what does his record have to be considered a more successful year than Mason Rudolph's 2019?
Interesting. All right, so let's go hypothetical here. Let's say Mitch starts maybe the first quarter of the season, like 4 or 5 weeks. Maybe he doesn't do as good. Maybe he goes down injury. Pickett comes in, and seeing how the defense, we're going to lean on the defense in the running game, which is superior compared to 2019 in my book. Pickett could have a nice, solid, positive winning record as like you said, Rudolph went 5-3. Let's say Pickett, he could go 6-3, 6-4, honestly. At that point, not exactly as a record stands does that show promise for Pickett. It's more so of a performance deal.
Right.
Because I think a winning it's a team thing. It's a matter for the quarterback to show what they can do on the field. That'll truly show us what type of player we have already.
Yeah, of course.
Right. But, I mean, you said it too. I think this team is probably a lot better than the 2019 team as whole. Just, not even looking at the quarterback position, minus the defense. The defense in 2019 was stellar. It was probably one of our best years. You have, the likes of Joe Hayden, who's no longer there. That I think is a huge loss for our defensive backs. But Minka Fitzpatrick going in to another year already having the bag without having to worry about those type of things is going to alleviate a lot of the problems in the defensive back room, in my opinion. And also, if the pass rush can get to the quarterback, that'll be great. But I think that's going to be the bar, in my opinion. It's going to be 5-3. If Pickett comes in at any point during the season, if he doesn't show that, I think there's going to be some question marks at him if he doesn't at least come in at 5-3, and rightfully so. Mason Rudolph was in his second year at the time, but he hadn't played any ball. He was backup. He was a third stringer. He was a scout guy for the majority of the first year. Dobbs was the second guy and took all the reps during Wednesday's Ben's off day. And so I think that'll be interesting. But I think that Kenny Pickett's a better quarterback than Mason Rudolph was at any point in his career, coming or even in college, looking back, just the mobility and stuff. A lot of the attention, though, has been going to Matt Canada. How do you guys feel about Matt Canada? I know that we had an issue last year with an aging Ben Roethlisberger and the rookie offensive line, but now he doesn't have those excuses. Do you think that the pressure might be on him this year?
Absolutely. 100%. I mean, I don't want to say 100%, but most of it, because
at this point, he really has no excuse. He's got a more mobile and younger quarterback in Mitch or Pickett. You got Najee, you got your targets, you got an upgraded offensive line on paper.
In fact, most of the offensive assistant coaches are guys that Canada has worked with in the past.
Yes.
So he has everything working for him on paper. So if he can't show himself that he's worthy of remaining the Steelers offensive coordinator, then he needs to get the boot, in my book, because it's all on him now. Because I think we do have the players for the most part. We obviously have the running back. We have a better line. We definitely have the receivers at hand. Quarterback's a question mark. I'll give him that. But Canada, the play calling was a concern for me last year, and I'll give him the benefit of the doubt here. That may have been due to the fact he had the wrong personnel. The quarterback play was rough. He didn't have someone that fit his system. The line didn't help Ben whatsoever. So Canada had to draw plays up that only helped Ben in terms of getting the ball out so quick, which for the past couple of years has hurt this offense. So maybe we get a better aspect of that for the offense, and then Canada can be more free in terms of his play calling. But I'm going to hold his promise to a low standard, and I'll be cautiously optimistic when I watch Canada this year, because I don't want to get my hopes up too high on the guy just because he had the wrong personnel. We don't exactly know that yet.
Right, of course.
So this is his year to prove it.
But coming into the season, I'm not anticipating like a top 5, top 10 offense, because I think that's too much to expect. I'm expecting at least, hopefully, maybe a top 15 at least.
Right.
And if we get something like that compared to other years, then I think that shows a slight glimmer of promise for Matt Canada as our offensive coordinator for potential years to come.
I think all we asked for is something better than last year. Just give us something decent, man. Something that we can get points on the board consistently.
Yeah, last year was probably one of the most frustrating years offensively that I've ever witnessed. It was more 3 and outs, and I felt that our defense was a subject, ended up, suffering for it because of it, with all the nailing injuries and whatnot. I think that had to do more with the time of the field that they had versus, the contact that comes with the sport. And so that's interesting. I also think that Matt Canada's on the hot seat if Kenny Pickett starts the season. I think that if Mitch Trubisky starts or plays the whole year, and we don't, the Steelers don't make the playoffs, or it doesn't end in a favorable manner, I think the excuse there is that it's still Mitch Trubisky. It's not his guy in Kenny Pickett. But we'll see. That'll be left to be seen for that aspect. Before we let you guys go, the last topic I want to get into is the backup running back position. How do you feel how important do you feel that position is? And do you think that we have that player on the team right now?
I hope so. I can tell you for sure, in my book, I do not think it's Snell. I do not think it is Anthony McFarland. I would hope to God that one of the 2 undrafted free agent running backs we picked up is one of them, and they can step it up and make the roster as the number 2. That's my hope. That's my promise. I'm talking about Jaylen Warren. I'm talking about Mateo Durant. Hopefully one of those 2 can step up to the plate. We've talked about possibly putting Connor Hayward as the running back too, not full time because he'll still be that Swiss Army knife, but maybe see time there. And since he's a pass catcher already, I mean, that helps out the backfield a lot. He can block. He can definitely run the ball. I'd like to see him get some reps there. That probably won't happen this year because he's working as a tight end for now. But down the road, I would hope so. Unless, like I said, one of these undrafted free agents step it up, or maybe Snell steps up in his last year of his contract. Maybe McFarland sees more time since he does have experience with Matt Canada. So I don't know, but it is absolutely a concern, and it is something the Steelers must address. And either they got to hope someone on the roster steps up, or they have to address it before the regular season because
I mean, depending on what happens in training camp, if guys don't step up, if it's as lackluster as I think we're all anticipating, maybe the Steelers go out their way. Maybe Omar Khan looks at the available run back free agents like a David Johnson or guys like that out there, receiving threat, a capable running back at behind Najee at number 2, because if Najee goes down, there goes the offense.
Yeah,
because quarterback is still a question mark, and Najee's I call him the heart and soul of the offense. And if he goes down, you can kiss the offense goodbye.
And I trust Najee with his health and with his body. He's
because he can endure those amount of he can endure that type of work ethic.
Right. But I don't want him to be forced to do that. He's already old enough as he is, and he's already had a ton of workload already in his rookie year. I'm not comfortable running him into the ground so early, especially since he's a running back and we drafted him into the first round. I want him to be here for a decent amount of time, at least past the second contract.
Yes.
So a second running back, absolutely. I'm glad you brought it up because it is a topic of discussion, and hopefully it is something in training camp that someone steps up to the plate. Otherwise, I don't know, man.
Yeah, I completely agree. I don't think Benny Snell is going to be that guy. I've told people before, and I've explained it that Benny Snell seems to be the kind of running back that needs to kind of get a rhythm, take over the game, third, fourth quarter, and then kind of have the game come to him and then take over at that point. But with a bell cow running back like Najee Harris in front of him, he's just not going to get those opportunities to do so. And I look at McFarland more of a gadget type of back, speedster runner, kind of maybe doing maybe some screens and things of that nature. And so I definitely agree. We do need somebody else back there. The Steelers have just him. And we saw the decline towards the end of the year after, Najee was just getting hit so much. And so it's definitely important. I look forward to that battle and see who comes out on top. But yeah, I appreciate you guys coming on board. I'm glad you guys came. It was a great conversation. I'm going to let you guys go with one last question I ask everybody, which is give us a record prediction and then let us know where we can find you guys.
Awesome, man. Record prediction, I'm going to go with there's 17 games now. I have to get it right this time. I'm still getting used to that.
Yeah, 17 games. As of now, I think I'm going to predict – I'm trying to keep it kind of low per se, but I'm going to say maybe at least a 10-7 record for the Steelers. I feel like they fight and they keep in range of that number 7 seed. And I do think they could potentially grab that 7 seed once again.
Right. I think they'll remain in contention with a good, solid 10-7 record. I think that's good. I trust Mike Tomlin completely. So 10-7 is our record prediction. You can find us on YouTube. Just search up Steel Twins in the search bar. You can find us on Twitter at Steel Twins. And you can find us on Instagram at Steel_Twins. But Daniel, man, I want to thank you for having us on. It was a great talk. It was a great collab. I'm glad we did it. And hopefully we can do another one down the road, man. And hopefully we see each other if we do go to the Friday Night Lights thing in Latrobe.
Absolutely.
That would be great, man. I'm looking forward to it. I look forward to it. I'll be at the Tampa Bay game if you guys end up making it out there. I didn't let go of that game. When you guys said everybody's going to that one, I'll be there too. But I appreciate it, guys. Everyone out there watching, please go follow Dan and Bob, the Steel Twins, and their channel and whatnot. And with that being said, guys, I'm Daniel J. This is State of the Steelers. Peace.